And welcome back. Like we said, we're jumping straight into the dailies, starting off with your People Daily. Front page, the People Daily, like we said, it's all about the unseen hand in 2019 census, the fate of 27 constituencies with low population threshold, 2022 succession politics and resource allocation matrix, spur mass mobilization. And you can see that Northeastern MPs had a presser yesterday urging for proper counting to be done, for their people to be counted properly. They said they know what usually happens in that particular area, and they have the numbers and projections as well. So they'll be watching that carefully. Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya saying people need to go back to their various home counties to be counted from there. And here we are.
Yeah, it's a lot of undercurrents that people are now bringing forward. Succession politics, because I don't know how the constituency and counting people factor into people's 2022 and onwards political ambitions, because as we have seen even on page 2 and page 4 and 5, how different people, the political and ethnic disputes always come up in every enumeration. In the 1980s, there was always questions of West Pokot district saying they can't count people because it's against their culture. So it brings in all these issues, but the most important one is the constituencies, creating new constituencies, merging others. That is a very emotive issue, and people are interested to see what the numbers will say this time.
Right. And like you said, at the constituency level is where the brunt of all of this will definitely be felt, and that's why you can understandably hear MPs talking about the fact that they need their constituents to go back home. This also led by Vita MP Nasir, who's talking about the fact that you need to return home for headcount to save your constituency. That's what they're talking about. If you don't do that, that boundary might be changed, and it won't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And also, clearly, your MP might not have a job.
But
from that one.
Yes, but then the most important factor is that you don't need to go to your constituency to be counted from there, from there. You can be counted wherever you are at the moment, and you insist that you're from a particular constituency. That is the only way out. Because this having to move, having a mass movement of Kenyans across the country doesn't make sense at this point.
And already, as we got it from the Presidential Strategic Communication Unit, there won't be a holiday on Monday. So how do you want all these people who are traveling to get back on time for their jobs on Monday?
It doesn't make sense, as I said.
Well, it's a story that you can get, of course, in detail, and we have it across page 2, 4, 5, and 6 of your People Daily right there. All the details of that. Nation set for population count amid fears of vested interests, like you've spoken about. Everybody talking about the resource allocation and how that will affect it. Also, when it comes to the whole ethnic community question also, that's in one of the questions that you can answer. But they say, if you're not comfortable with it, you can choose to say Kenyan. And they leave it at that wherever you are across the country, and so that's an issue that has also been brought to the fore. But even as we get ready for this, and the reference night being the night of 24th to the 25th, yesterday high drama in various areas. Naivasha enumerators downing their tools. Imara Daima, on the other hand, because hadn't been paid their allowances, and saying no allowance, no census. And also
there was the pre-enumeration exercise. A lot of enumerators were turned away because Kenyans did not know this exercise existed. Kenyans knew, I just need to wait until the 24th and at 6 p.m. To be counted. So when people are walking around estates and telling individuals that they're enumerators without a badge, without an identity, clearly it would be so easy to tell them, no, we do not know who you are, you could be thieves.
Especially with all the communication indicating very clearly they'll have reflector jackets
on
and
24th,
badges. And then the person who comes doesn't have that. Well, that's an issue as well, and I'm sure they'll have to go out and sort that before the material evening of tomorrow right there. But of course, the lead story on the PD is all about that. But also, even as you look at this, because very many questions has been asked, even as far as the last census that was done, what did they do with the data? Where did it move from there? What's supposed to be different now? Of course, they're doing it electronically.
So they're doing it electronically.
In 6 months, we'll get a basic report as to how things are looking. In a year, the full report on that. But in terms of the planning and how we move forward, as a citizen of Kenya living in West Pokot, what am I expecting from, why should I be counted? Other than the government saying you have to be, yes. What else is in it for me?
Yeah, it's been a question since 1969 about the resource allocation, because we've done this exercise since 1969 every 10 years. But there are people who do not feel the impact of the census. They know I'm counted and then I'll wait to be counted again within
the next
10 years if I survive, because the resources don't get to you. Simple things, water, sanitation, food. So while you're trying, and it's a very legitimate question, because as people are trying to eke a living, and then somebody comes and tells you, you must be counted. And then you ask, what's the whole point? And when you hear about, because a lot of the political angle to the census is what messes things up. Because now people will just keep in mind that I need to be counted so that I can influence who will be my MP, my governor, my senator, or whatever. But they don't get to the point of thinking beyond the political angle. What does this census do to me? And we have a whole report there of how enterprises will make use of the data of the census statistics, from composition and size of property to help property developers, age and sex to help in businesses and in education, data on levels of literacy and all that, so that we can determine how to make the country better. But it's 2019. What has been happening since 2009 and backwards? Yeah, those are legitimate questions.
And it's interesting because even as we look at this, in terms of the data that's going to be given out, because that was an issue that was actually brought yesterday, CS Mosheru saying that our data is very safe. They have 50 terabytes in cloud, I think, of storage for this. But like we've seen here, enterprises making use of national census statistics. And anytime we hear enterprises and data, we've heard how that usually plays out later on. So really, how safe is it when it comes? Because you can understand the government needing our data for national planning. When a company comes in, and of course a company's usual use is bottom line profit, how safe is our data now? Is it to the highest bidder?
I'm hoping they will use the information that comes after the census, the 6-month basic report and the 1-year analytical report. I hope that's what they use, and not that they'll get people to access or to access the information at the moment while the census is going on and is being uploaded, or the security of the census data is at risk if the government has not put proper measures. I hope they're actually using that report and not doing any funny business.
And of course that is an issue that will be found and be discussed in detail, of course, even as it continues right there. Also, an interesting question that came up yesterday is the fact that you will be asked if you have a Huduma number or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and even as we talk about that, we thought that was way past and we are moving on.
Yeah, but we had moved on.
Yes,
actually.
we thought. But clearly,
now it has come to bite our back.
In another form or fashion. They say it's one of those questions that you just answer yes or no, but then again you wonder why and what that has to do with anything.
Especially with the controversy that came with the Huduma number. You really, am I really safe when I say no? And it's, you won't be required to give proof that you actually had gotten Huduma, that strip of paper that they gave people after. If it's a yes and no question, we will see how that turns out.
Well, some of the questions that will be asked, and of course, as we get ready for the reference night of the 24th to the 25th of August. In your spice pull-out, of course, of your People Daily, Kenya's art scene on the upward trend right there, and this not only excites players but economists as well, because now there's money to be made. There's an art economy on the rebound.
Yes, it has. But the art scene in Kenya has had growth spurts across across board as far back as the 80s. It has had those moments of, oh, there is this big blowout of Kenyan art, and then something happens and then it simmers down and then it pops up again. But I'm hoping that this time this will stick. Because different corporates have shown their interest, and I think artists are also going beyond just the Kenyan market. Because if you look at the data, it says 0.01% of the global art sales came from Africa. Wow. 0.01. That is like a drop in the ocean. So there needs to be more investment. There needs to be more intentional investment in the art, not only from the artist sides, but also from corporates and for the society.
Right.
Because one of the biggest things that we need to fight is that mentality that art is expensive and art is for a select few.
Right.
It is not. Our ancestors created art. We have cave arts, and that cave art has now become very valuable now, but it goes on with time. So we need to make sure that we also show our interest in supporting our local artists and so on. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's a story that you can get, of course, in detail as well in your copy of the PD right there. Also, of course, on the front page of the PD, we did look at this. Keroche CEO spends night in police custody. She's arraigned today, and of course, as far as Wednesday night, she has said she wasn't going to, turn herself in or go to the police on this because she hadn't been summoned. Thursday afternoon, the DCI had found her and, came with a warrant of arrest. And of course, she spent the night in custody, and today her charges will be read before her. But very many questions asked as to how this has gotten to where it is, and was KRA really asleep on the job? Because yes, we had a couple of KRA employees who were arrested, and we saw them over various allegations as far as lack of proper propriety when it comes to how they're giving out certificates and all of this. But when there's 14 billion shillings in terms of tax evasion, 41 billion shillings in another allegation, really? But
also, you look at it and you find it's the alcoholic industry, and now people are questioning really what is the undercurrent, what are the sins behind all this? Because I think in this country, people don't necessarily look at things just face off. They always try to dig in deeper and try to find out, could there be somebody who's interested in the alcohol industry that is trying to shake up the two different groups so that they can get into the market? It's a lot of questions, and Kenyans love controversies. So these ones could be as factual as they actually evaded paying tax. But no, it is too close to comfort. So it's very, it has either political angle, some weird controversy about it. But so they have been arrested, so we just wait and see what will come out from the charges today. Right,
and of course we'll be following that very keenly right here. We move on now from the PeopleDaily to the Standard. The front page of the Standard, Uhuru talks about dynasty, hustler talk, won't get you to power. President reprimands in what he's seen as a jab at his DP. Kenyatta tells politicians that pursuit for leadership should not be defined by where one is born, but service to Kenyans. Of course, this was a narrative that had been plied around for a while. Let's not forget the National Prayer Breakfast, where, of course, the DP spoke about the fact that not having shoes, and now here he is as, the second most powerful person in the country. And we've heard he is the hustler. He lives in the Hustler Mansion, which is the DP's residence in Karen. He had a Hustler jet, first thing he got into power. So you know where if we're talking about a hustler, really there's only one person we're referencing in terms of that. And you know where the dynasty reference has come in. Why do you think this is coming now? What's going on?
As he had said before, he's not interested in whatever happens in 2022. He's the kind of person who said God will decide. So I think he's just trying to put himself away from this political talk. As you can see, he's pitting two very different but very common people within the political cycles. So it's trying to tell them, well, you're on your own. So don't come to me and try to see how this will go. Do whatever you need to do. But also remember, it's not guaranteed. That's basically it. And
the political intrigues continue right there. Also, some good news for the teachers as well. Yesterday, they got an increase as far as their medical package is concerned. That was definitely a good look. But also now, 15,000 teachers to be promoted in New Deal diploma teachers to benefit after TSC struck pact with Kupet as union proposes salary increase in new CBA talks.
But as usual, the CBA talks, signing is one thing, implementing is different.
So where the strikes happen.
Because even before that, the strikes happened because the CBA was not honored. So let's see how it goes.
And of course, the story that you can get, of course, in plenty of detail in your copy of your Standard right there. Also in your Standard, we have the Pulse magazine pullout, and therein a couple of stories that we are looking at. Right there, as you look at it, clubbing for fun. In the race to become a hit, with the ever more discerning party-goer, hangout joints are becoming more innovative with big nights lined up with really big, even international acts.
Competition is real. Competition is real, and Nairobians love their nightlife. So you need need to make sure you're unique. You need to make sure that your target audience gets value for money.
Right.
So if you do that, you're good to go. You
also,
won't miss out.
Interestingly, also therein in the Pulse magazine, this might be arguably one of Nairobi's most interesting pastors. Let me just put it at that.
Yeah.
I preach, pray, and slay.
Yes.
That's what Reverend Lucy Natasha talks about. There's a very interesting picture there. I don't know if she's in a private jet. But where is there a smoke machine in the private jet as well? It looks like she's coming out of a concert.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
It could be. It's not... I don't know. I can't even explain what that photo is.
We're talking about her various endeavors and why she's a pastor, a reverend, but also very trendy and flashy.
Yeah.
Talking about that and discussing what she does.
It's about time, because for the longest time we've had trendy male pastors. They're flaunting their jets, flaunting their big cars. Well, give her space. She has to slay as well.
Well, there it is, of course, as we look at that particular story. Also on Overheard, Davido shares stage with 50 Cent in the US, of course. Another story of Nigerians making big moves in that particular space, and they're taking over the international scene.
Burna Boy is making waves across the US. We had Wizkid filling out a London arena.
The O2 arena.
Now we have Davido on stage with 50 Cent. It says something about their work ethic and their connections as well. Because some of these things don't happen just without you networking and meeting the right important
Getting yourself
people
to the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
And you can get plenty more of those stories, of course, in your copy of your Pulse magazine, which is in the Standard. Finally, we now look at the Star. Front page of the Star, Jubilee leaders attack Uhuru tax cheats war. DPP has ordered prosecution of owners of Keroshe and tycoon Humphrey Kariuki. Politicians, however, claim disputes should be handled by tax tribunal and not court. This is something also that Tabitha Karanja of Keroshe had raised, saying that all of these allegations that have been brought up are in the tax arbitration tribunal as we speak. The KRA is party to that as well. So she doesn't understand why this is now being brought as if there's something else going on.
As I said, there is always undercurrent. So you think something as simple as this could be handled by the right channels, but when the DCI is involved and the DPP is involved, it becomes a whole different issue. So it's actually true, trying to find where exactly do I need to go when I have these issues? Will I, as an individual, be arrested when there is a different tribunal that could handle matters? But also this means KRA has to also clean up their act, clean their house and make sure all the different issues that they keep getting involved in are sorted. Right. Yeah.
And even as we talk about the fact that there's been evasion of taxes to the tune of 41 billion, 14 billion. Yes, we're going for the people and the companies and the directors of these particular companies, but the evasion also happened at KRA.
Yes.
We haven't seen any high profile arrest with this because I'm sure the 41 billion, if indeed it happened in evasion, someone helped that happen at KRA.
Yes,
How come no arrest is being made?
That's what I'm saying. They need to clean up their act as well. And also investigation should be also done in KRA and not just internal. Because now if it comes to this point of arresting people, there ought to be accountability on either side.
And that's a key question very many people are asking right there. Also, as the government talks about all systems being go as far as the census is concerned, Matiang'i making sure politicians don't incite census boycott. Interior CS has cautioned politicians against inciting constituents to boycott the census on Saturday. He said the exercise is straightforward and should not be politicized.
It's already been politicized. Over the years, census has been a political tool. But let's see what will happen in the few days. But I don't know. The people are complaining about different things when they're saying they're boycotting the census. They're boycotting because people from their region did not get to be enumerators. They are complaining because they've not seen anything come out of the census. So some of these things should be addressed instead of just saying do not politicize and don't boycott.
Right.
Engage with Kenyans, find out why they're doing this. Right. Because if you keep on threatening people, then we'll lose them in the process. Right.
And also the tone that has been used in terms of the government urging citizens to, take part in the census hasn't really been a dialogue. It's been more of a strong-arm tactic. If you don't, we're going to fine you.
And if you give false information,
we're going to fine you, and it almost seems like we're going to close the bars. It feels like you're being forced and coerced into this, whether you like it or not. And, for some people, the natural reaction is just to push back. Now they don't want to do it. And of course, it's a key concern right there in terms of the communication as far as that's concerned. And you can get more of those and those details in your copy of the Star. Also, Google app rules to deny borrowers quick mobile loans. Google wants all mobile loan apps available on its Play Store platform to ensure the repayment period of the loans is not less than 60 days.
Yeah.
For an economy where very many people live from loan app to loan app.
Yeah, that's true. This is very helpful. Yeah, because even Bloomberg the other day had highlighted one of the biggest problems we had. The loan apps came as a relief for a lot of poor Kenyans. And then all of a sudden, poop, now they're in a debt cycle they can't come out of. And I think Google is doing the right thing.
Trying to play its part in responsibility of the apps on its platform.
Yes, because if you're not careful, these guys are hawks.
Very
you
true.
miss out, you
Very
can't
true.
access an app, you end up in CRB, you have no idea how to come
how you got there.
And it could be as little as 100 shillings.
True,
it doesn't make sense.
Very true. And it's a story that you can get in detail in your copy of your Star this morning. That's why we leave the newspaper review at this particular point. Nduta, thanks for taking us through the dailies.
Thank you.
It's the last time we're doing this.
Yes, I know.
Because you won't see me here next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It was good.
It was
while it lasted.
While it lasted. It was fun.
Man, buys all round. We're going to take a short break, of course. But DJ Grass is in the house as well. So, you know, Hangout Friday equals lit. This is where you send your request because, like we said, it's the last time you're sending in that request. Do it at K24 TV. He'll do the business right here on Alpha Jiri.